You've tuned into this video because you're considering retaining Paul Dyer of Gold Medal Gardeners or waterfeatures.co.uk to design a water feature for you. Paul's got a couple of websites, as you perhaps found out. He's Gold Medal Gardeners. He's also got that waterfeatures.co.uk, and he's got a couple of others as well, I think, that sort of link into him. I use Mr. Dyer to do some work for me, and I really wish I hadn't, unfortunately. It's been a bit of a disaster. As you'll probably realise, first off, I'm sitting on the edge of my pond, and the reason why I'm able to sit on the edge of my pond is it ain't got any water in it, and it's been like that for probably 18 months now, and despite literally dozens upon dozens upon dozens of phone calls, emails, we've still got a hole in the ground rather than a pond, and I've paid quite a bit of money for my hole in the ground, so I'm quite pleased with my hole in the ground, other than the fact it's not what I wanted. But anyway, and just I'll say it up front before I go into too long, if you do want to do some research on Paul Dyer, Gold Medal Gardeners, when you do a search on Google, don't just go to the top one, come down, there's some feedback sites. I'm not alone in the way that I've been treated. I'm not unique. People think I am, but I'm not. So unfortunately, the other people have had a similar experience, and I'll leave the excitement to you to go find them. But if you just do that Paul Dyer Gold Medal Gardeners search and then pan down, you'll see some. So perhaps you've already made contact with Paul Dyer. Maybe you have. And if you have, I'll tell you something that you will have experienced, that I've experienced, and clearly a number of other people have experienced, which ought to be a little bit of a red flag for you. I bet when you phoned, no one picked up the phone, did they? He didn't pick up the phone. His secretary or personal assistant didn't pick up the phone. Nobody picked up the phone. Now, I naively thought, when I first left messages for him back in 2012, that, wow, he's got such an impressive website, he's got such a big history, he's probably got a huge order book, he's probably a busy bloke, and therefore he's not going to ring me back, or he can't get to the phone. However, what he's really doing is he's picking and choosing who he wants to call back. So I've never had a phone call returned subsequent to him doing the work, and clearly, per that feedback website, lots of other people are in a similar position. So just flag that up for yourself. If he picks up the phone, you have a conversation with him, that'd be a miracle. But anyway, so the facts of my experience. We had him visit our house in the latter part of 2012. He came up with a little bit of design, gave us a quote. Right, this is the headed paper that Paul Dyer supplied us our quote on. So it's got Paul Dyer, head designer, Stephen Fitzgerald, never met him, and I've never met Oliver Dyer, who I assume is related to Paul Dyer, called the Gold Medal Gardeners, lists their achievements, specialist nature water, everything done to one standard only. If you want to look at the standard that he's done for me, hopefully that might demonstrate something to you. But anyway, branches, again, as well as his website being pretty impressive, this conveys a size. Then he's got branches and staff bases: Chislehurst, Tunbridge Wells, Rye, Horsham, Guildford, Esher, London, Wandsworth in London, and Southampton. You can get hold of him 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. He's got a toll-free number. That doesn't work, or his direct line that he never answers. Website, his email address, registered office, all of that down in Shottery Village. That is quite important, that document, because I'll come to something a little bit later. He tells me what he's going to do. He's going to line the pond with 20-year black butyl liner or 40-year triple ply liner, depending on the level of sharp stone we find when we dig. Again, important, because I'll refer back to that. He says both liners, protective liners above and below.
So we'll come back to that a little bit then. Okay, so to the job itself.
Turned up last week of December 2012, first 2 weeks of January 2013, and 4 gentlemen turned up in a white van, started to work. They stayed at a local bed and breakfast, which I'll digress a little bit in a moment and just let you know a little bit about that and tell you a story about that. But anyway, so they turned up. In the second week, and it was over Christmas period, in the second week, one of them left the site. Apparently, according to one of the other gentlemen, he wasn't happy with what they were doing. I don't know. Anyway, he had a grievance. He left the site. Only problem was he was the driver, and he owned the van. So he buggered off midday. He left midday, middle of the day, and the poor chaps that were left, the other guys that were left, they couldn't get home. So they wanted a cab, and had to go home in a cab. Then when they stayed at the local bed and breakfast Gravesend that evening, slept, got up in the morning, and the gentleman that owned the bed and breakfast very kindly gave them a lift back to the work site, i.e. back to our house, so they could carry on the job. I never got to meet the kind gentleman that did that, and obviously my wife that day because he just dropped him at the gate. But my wife got to meet him about 3 or 4 months later, I think maybe April, May 2013. He knocked at our door, and he wondered if there was any way that we knew how to get hold of Paul Dyer and waterfeatures.co.uk or Gold Medal Gardens or whatever he likes to call them. We could get hold of him because he hadn't been paid for the period that they'd spent in the bed and breakfast, would you believe it? Anyway, never mind. I digress, sorry about that, but I thought I'd let you know. Anyway, so they carried on working, and then they finished their job. And when they finished in the second week of January, we, when they go off site, when they left, what they did was they put 2p coins. So they filled it up, and then they put 2p coins on the ledges like that, so that wherever the level was of the water, they put the 2p coins there. And the intention was that when it measures the water level, so if there was a leak, the water level would go down. Now, what do you think happened? After they went the next day, come out, had a look, they were perfectly visible. We'd lost water overnight, and what's more, they're probably the driest 2Ps in Kent because they've never got wet any time since. We put a couple more down there just for old times. Anyway, so we ascertained we got a little pot. Could we get hold of the bloke? We emailed him, we phoned him, we left messages with him, we left messages with Mandy, his secretary. You name it, I would have left messages with anyone. Did he ever get back to us? We got the odd email that said, we'll be back and all that sort of, promise, string me along like a mug. And that was it really. It went on and on and on. Now, he changed secretaries. Because I was going through a period I got bored after. I'd get bored after a period of time, and then I'd take a period off chasing him, and I'd get back involved. But anyway, so I chased him up probably latter part of last year, earlier part of this year, 2014. It's now August 2013, and he changed secretaries. Mandy had left. Another young lady was there now. Either she's an extremely good actress or she's actually genuine, and she wanted to help. She kept trying to say that she'd get someone back, and it dragged on. We kept in email correspondence, always very cordial. Anyway, finally, she got a bloke to come back, organised it. We had a couple of full starts, couldn't make it. The way another job. But anyway, cut a long story short. April 2014, he comes back and he bought a bucket. Now we thought I wasn't here. I was at work, earning money, but in the pocket of people like Mr. Dyer. And my wife said, he said, Paul, he's turned up with a bucket. Now someone clearly had, there was a disconnect. Someone had been listening. This pond's been leaking since January 2013. He turns up in April 24, 15 months later. Now, why do you think he's got a bucket? The only thing we could have thought he had a bucket for was to empty the pond. No water in it. Excuse me. There's no water in it. Anyway, he put a bucket on one side. He brought it all the way from Stratford upon Avon. So maybe he held the passenger seat and he was chatting all the way down. I don't know. Used it as a mate on a journey or something. Sorry, my daughter's very embarrassed with me. Anyway, he turns up, get an email later on in the day. Good news, bad news. Bad news is there's a tear in the seam of the pond liner. Good news is Dan the man can fix it. Top man. He can't get there tomorrow. Can't do it that day. He's got to come back next week with a mate, with a friend. History doesn't relate if they bought another bucket or just the one bucket stayed or what happened. We don't know. Anyway, Dan the man come along the next week and we'll show you the job that he actually did. Along here, supposedly, is a seam, okay? And that seam is supposedly torn. Apparently it's torn, supposedly. So what they did, they put this black gunk on it, and then they put that on it, stuck that to it. That's their patch. That's going to fix it. Okay, so they went away, and I filled it up, and what do you think happened? It leaked. So I got on the phone to, I got on the email, sent a message, said, thanks for Dan coming round, thanks for him fixing the pond, it still leaks. Not a problem, he'll be back shortly. And clearly no one really sort of thought it through, so he never actually come back. But in between times I got a little bit bored, and I invited a local pond contractor to come round. And he came round and he had a look at it and he said, oh, to me it doesn't look like there's a pond liner in there. And I said, well, there is. He's told me he's got a pond liner. I've got a black butyl 30-year guaranteed or 40-year super duper pond liner. He said, no, I don't think. He says, that's just Terram, building material on top. Now, other people had said that. I'm not too sure. Anyway, what my local contractor, pond contractor, did was he slit it, because what we thought was maybe the Terram was on the top for the stones and all that lot to protect the liners. So he slit it, and now I'll show you what he came up with. 3 layers. So that's what's on top, and then that's below it, and that's below that. So here you can see it in person. There's the liner, there's the thing below it, and there's another one below that, and that's the earth. And the pond contractor thought there might be an actual pond liner underneath all of that. He said, Paul, you haven't got a pond liner. I said, but Mr. Dyer told me I had. Anyway, I referred you to the job specifications a little bit earlier on, or the job specifications, and so they made reference to a butyl pond liner. Now, I contacted Butyl, who are just actually quite close to me. I'm in Kent. Butyl is in Billericay, in Essex, and they sent me samples. They're very helpful, very nice people. They send me samples of their pond liners. These are the pond liners up here. Butyl rubber, butyl rubber. Important word, rubber. And there's 2, one at different thickness and one at the other. So I'll take out the thinner one. Let me just, it's very difficult on the camera, I'm sure. It's rubber. See, it's stretching.
this isn't stretching, it's woven. It's a woven fabric, woven. Alright, so then what Butil did for me, very kindly, and they put it in print for me, they ran an analysis on the three samples that I sent them. They said these are damp-proof membranes, and this is used for building roads, basically. It's not made for pond linings, it's actually a building product. He called it similar to Teram. Now, if you've got Teram in your garden, you will see that this is like a weed membrane. That's like a cheap Teram. Admittedly, this is more expensive. Not a pond liner, but it's a more expensive bit. Now, why on earth he's done that, I do not know. But anyway, now, so if you go on to the websites, you will see we provided some feedback. I provided some feedback. I've made some photos of my hole, plus the other holes that I've got further up there, and I've posted them on the website. Alright. So Paul was obviously a little bit concerned because this feedback site might stop someone using him. And he says, I have no contract with you. You have a contract with Gold Medal Gardeners. I am an employee of Gold Medal Gardeners. I do not own Gold Medal Gardeners. I've never owned Gold Medal Gardeners. I'm not a signatory on a bank account at Gold Medal Gardeners. I've never received any of your money. I'm also a self-employed garden designer. I do my own work for Gold Medal and other landscapes. I designed your pond for Gold Medal Gardeners. I do not pay hotel bills on behalf of the whole community. Then he goes on about how libelous my comments were. He's telling me it's no doubt, without doubt, it's a pond liner. Now, I have asked him on 2 occasions, I've sent him 2 emails, and I said, I'll always give someone the benefit of doubt. Just tell me who the manufacturer is of the pond liner, and then I will contact the pond liner manufacturer and ask him if this is his product and if it's a pond liner. Now, he hasn't answered those 2 very, very simple requests. Okay. He said it's a manufacturing fault. Now he told me at one stage, I got an email saying that they would dig it all up. Now he's telling me that they're not going to dig it all up. They're going to do a triple. They will not be replacing the perfect. We replace any part of holes in it, such as line which I repeat. We will return and take extreme measures, a triple seal. Now bear in mind what they've already done to reseal the seam. They've stuck that green bit of stuff on it with a bit of splodge. The work will be guaranteed for the life of the liner. Well, there you go. And they're going to return within a week, have I heard from them. Anyway, so basically what he was doing was threatening me with an email, opening up our crawler away and climbing to my hole again, I guess. All I can relate to you is my own experience, which has been pretty satisfactory. Here we are in August 2014. I've sent him so many emails, I've sent him so many phone calls, and they're all ignored and nobody ever comes back. And go to that website because you will see other people in London, around, the southeast, mainly around the southeast, that have been stitched up a kipper. Now, his website looks good. I must give him credit for that. It makes it sound so good. He's got so many awards. He mentions all these people that he's done jobs for. He's got some interviews from different people around the shop. He's even got, when he did a Chelsea flower show, apparently the Queen made a comment to him. What a nice find. It's down on his website. I can't remember quite the precise language. But hopefully she didn't have him back to actually do a job. Otherwise, she might have had a bit of a problem with her gaff as well as we had at ours. But anyway, she'll probably sort him out and hopefully go into town. That'll be the end of it. But anyway, never mind, that's about it. Well, if you want to contact me, I don't know how these things work. Maybe on YouTube you put a little bit of feedback or something. I'm perfectly happy to give you a call. If you've had a similar experience, there's not a lot we can do about it. I guess we can only go to the small claims court, get our money back, try and get that. But anyway, try and avoid it. So, bye for now.